so we're going to the same time. Welcome to the podcast with myself, Ben Richardson,
and me, Charlie Hadley.
There you are. We're going to link it with a project that I do called Our World, Where Do We Start? On many different things like I've got trail now. Oh yeah, like a domino effect of many things that we're going to discuss on world topics and things that are happening and things perhaps that need to change. But yeah, so there you go. All right, so like where do we start? So we're going to like categorize each like one, and today is going to be probably interlinking because we're all about veganism, climate change, and mental health, and all the things that happen in the world. But we're going to talk about today is the domestication of animals. So, Charlie, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I guess we have to go back right to the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And just talk about, obviously, how we ended up where we are today.
Yep.
So, obviously, the industrialization that happened in, like, I don't know, like the 15th, 16th centuries kind of had a really big impact on how we farm today. And I think, yeah, you have to really think about it. You have to go back. Because, obviously, before that, there wasn't factory farming. And although, we might not necessarily agree with the farming that happened at the time, it certainly wasn't as destructive to the planet. It was working with the planet until capitalism came along.
Sure.
So I really do think that, well, we all know that that's the root of a lot of issues.
One of the reasons, yeah. One of the reasons. Oh, just got myself on it.
Give you a little facelift.
Like, yeah, Botox. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a fair point. Like a lot of things that come down to capitalization and the control of the Western society, as I like to call it, and the other parts as well. But I know for me, I know there's different people talk about different reasons that people have cats and certainly dogs, because apparently there was a link to how dogs used to be they kind of found themselves to people as well.
Yeah, I think they did. Well, like, because obviously with working animals, humans picked the animals that they needed. So I think cats is, like you said, cats is a good one, because cats is probably one where actually it was 50-50, where the cats were attracted to the food and the shelter that the humans provided. And obviously where there's humans, there tend to be mice, rats.
Sure.
So yeah, but obviously nowadays, most people don't keep cats to keep down the local mouse population or anything. And then you have to get into the ethics of that as well. Like, shouldn't we let the mice live?
Very true. Oh, I wonder what that was. Should we let the mice live? I mean, that's a fair point, but I mean, that's going back in, or is that, you mean today or back then?
Well, yeah, back in the olden days, back before industrialization and capitalism, basically.
But even now, I mean, look at the way people are with mice and rats. So that's a different thing with the way that people try and kill them. It's disgusting. Yeah, it is. Exactly.
Some of the places. So there was a place I worked, and they would put down glue traps. Yeah, and one day I found this baby. Oh, honestly, it was traumatic. I found this baby mouse on this glue trap, and I did everything I could to get this poor baby off this glue trap. And it knew I was trying to help it as well, but it wasn't cool. Yeah, that's horrible.
Horrific. I remember, when I lived in London, my experience of, I remember waking up and there was like a tiny mouse, and I was like, oh. But, you'd always, the lights are gone off. We are in a studio at the moment, so maybe the lights come on. We'll have to
have a little jog
jog in the background.
Yeah, where's the lights then?
There you go. There you go. There you go. They come back on. It's self-sufficient, helping the planet. With the lights coming on off. Anyway. But I like I say. I mean, that again is and it go back to that thing without going off on the tangent away from what we're talking about. But like everything living thing matters, and rice and mouse. They're just trying to live like we are. But I think it's the other thing that then again it does link into how then cats and animals are used to some people are like, oh, get them, or I don't know. But for me, bringing it to this day and age, for me, me and Charlie, or I and Charlie, how you can say it. Charlie and I are both quite similar in the way we think on our lifestyles, that we're both vegans. And for me, I guess it's it's kind of a touchy subject in some ways, because I wouldn't have animals because, there is a thing now to get, you can buy vegan food for cats and animals, but I wouldn't have it because you have to feed cats obviously meat and be
Yeah.
vegan, which obviously you of course have cats.
So I do have cats, and I do feed them meat. I know. Look at you. I'm getting a dirty look.
No, it's alright.
No, I'm
joking.
Um,
Silently.
Look, and the reason I do that is I understand that some people don't want to touch meat and they want to give their animals a vegan diet, but I think that's an ideological choice that we as humans can make, but we can't force that on animals who are traditionally carnivores. Like, they don't understand. Do you know what I mean? They should be naturally eating meat, especially cats. They need what's in fresh meat for their diet. They're not like us. We can survive healthily, you know, and have a very long, healthy life without meat, but these animals can't.
But you see, that's the thing, because then, you know, obviously there is vegan options for cats, and it's hard. It's a one, just like vegan food is expensive, but you have to apparently get them at the start with it. But the other thing is, you're right. This is the discussion that comes back to it, because in the wild they would eat.
Yeah, they would.
But, and that's why for me it's like, not blaming them because it's what they're used to, but
yeah.
that's again linked into domesticated animals, because we
It's
brought them
true.
up, so we're giving them meat, so that go against, you know, with the industry that's even more animals are slaughtered, even not just for us but also for the
Yeah,
cats and
for the
animals, which
Well,
know,
I think that what they do, I mean,
a lot
I
of
don't-
it's
obviously,
leftover stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
Points,
so
I've
stuff that they can't feed
Yeah.
humans, they will process for animals.
but still, it's,
Which I do, yeah, I completely agree that, you know, that's abhorrent, especially the way we do it. And like, again, we were talking about the past, you know, you go back like 150 years, you couldn't buy cat food or dog food.
no, of course.
If you had a cat or a dog, it was eating what you were eating. It was eating scraps. You know, maybe you'd buy a fish for it or something. You know, this is like, you know, 1800s, early 1900s. But you couldn't go and buy pet food. Again, that wasn't until we got to rampant capitalism that really kind of reared its ugly head. I mean, I do think you should give an animal a balanced diet. You know, it's such a grey area, because obviously we love animals. We don't want animals to be hurt. I love living with my cats, and, you know, they go outside, they can do what they want. But forcing my ideology on them is wrong, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Other people would say, no, you're wrong.
Well, I think, you know, people, I mean, I don't know whether this has ever been discussed before, so it'll be, I know it has on some social media platforms where people are actually trying to promote veganism to get to animals, if you've got one, of course. So it is a mixed review, because a lot of people say, well, the animals have chosen me, I haven't chosen them. You know? And I get it, and it's just the way, just like we'll bring up in many different subjects within a lot of things, because it's just the way we've always done it and always lived.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The last however long within capitalism.
Last 50 years, maybe.
You know what I mean? Or, well, probably
Yeah.
a lot more than that.
Well, I just mean from the, you know, it's like if we just specifically talking about the cat food.
Oh, sorry, yeah. My bad.
Or
yeah,
the dog
of course,
food,
of
like,
course,
you know
right,
what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
50 years, not longer than that.
No, not much longer than that. You know, you go.
Charlie knows the stuff, it's very...
Thank you. I'd say I think pet food started to rear its head around the 60s, 70s as more people kind of, you know, settled down into the suburbs, and they kind of spread, the middle class grew. And that's basically kind of the history
Okay.
of that kind of stuff. You know, and in the past, you know, perhaps you would have gone to your local farm, or that used to be a lot more local, didn't it? You know, you didn't go to a supermarket, you went to the butchers, or you went to, I don't know, the dairy or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Right.
million years ago.
A million years ago. But, you know, I think the times are changing a lot of it, innit? But, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like, you know, when cats, obviously more than dogs, it's cats
Yeah,
will
no,
bring
yeah,
in a dead animal, because it's most of the time a way of, they'll either hunt or a way of being grateful for their owner. I've heard some of the gratitude
Yeah.
way of bringing in.
Oh yeah, when they bring you a dead animal. Yeah, I'm
Because
not gonna lie.
and I always think, you know, because like it's, you know, the last place I lived in North Wales, there were 5 cats, and each one they were always bringing out like, there's more dead.
Yeah, but so I almost brought me a pigeon once, and
That's your cat.
yeah, that's my cat. It's a random person.
Yeah.
Hey, I brought you a pigeon. But I mean, oh no, I had a point, and literally because I just talked about the pigeon.
Your cat brought in brought in there.
Yes, right. But obviously, I mean, in my mind, one of the big reasons that I'm against factory farming is the way the animals are slaughtered and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying I'd want to go back to any kind of slaughter, but I just think it really is abhorrent the way the animals are abused. You know, it's not just that they're murdered; they're murdered and abused, and that's what's so galling.
It's not what we call natural. It's not
No.
a natural way of.
No, it's wrong, because we as humans have the capacity for that higher intelligence, which animals just don't have. So obviously animals are going to follow their natural instincts, which have been honed over millions of years, you know, especially a species like cats or dogs. You know, whereas we have that ability, that special ability to be able to say, hang on a minute, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Aren't we supposed to be custodians of the planet? And we're here just destroying it for what? For like this short-term profit?
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah. I mean, do you know what? We'll go with it because obviously it's like I said, like a domino effect of this kind of. I was going to open the clap. I'll do it in the clap on of this of this huge sort of domino effect of things, and I think, you know, there's always going to be a naysay on a lot of things, and I think with cats and dogs, you know, you agree for it and well, and I think if we could live in a way that I'd love it eventually. You know, a lot of people wanted to go off grid, and I'd love it because you could have animals that are with you, but they come back to you and they're going.
Yeah, they go do their own thing.
They'd hunt and have their own food, so you wouldn't have to worry about
feeding them
because they're going off and doing it, you know. And
that would be good, wouldn't it?
And if they want to come back to you, they will. If they don't, they don't, because it's all part of the thing, and they will come to you if they love you.
Yeah.
And then they're off, and, you know, and you're saving all these animals, because every animal and every living thing matters. But yeah, I mean, for me, like I say, I think it's just a very interesting one with domestication of animals, because then obviously it links on to a lot more people are. Well, there's not just cats and dogs, there's all types of different animals, but people are starting to have, like, now. What is it? I don't know if it's called micro pigs or pigs.
Yeah, I think that's wrong. You know, I'm not sure you should have a micro pig. Like, they're not, pigs aren't, well, while they're domesticated, they're certainly, you know, they're not really pets, are they? And I'm not sure if you should take an animal out of its habitat like that.
But cats and dogs were taken out of the house.
Yeah, but they've been with us for like thousands of years at this point. I'm not.
Thousands of years.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. The ancient Egyptians like had cats.
Oh wow.
And the ancient Egyptians would like mummify their cats because they were important. Again, you know, they kept things like grain stores safe. So ancient peoples really did rely on animals, other animals, predators, to help them with pests.
That'll be for another time again, because
sorry, I'll bring that one up another time.
Egyptian,
I do,
thing.
yeah.
And that's the thing. Another time, whether you know about Egyptians and whether another species and what happened, which other people talk about on other podcasts. But we'll talk about it another time, because it is an interesting thing, the Egyptians. But I think you know, wherever this goes, and whatever platform we put it on, obviously comments about, you know, because you know, shifting from cats and dogs and introducing other animals, but should we can't probably stop that unless we're going off grid and off garden community.
I think we should stop.
Could if we could, or could we introduce, if people didn't introducing the vegan options of food, which the way it's going these days, we just had an amazing vegan pizza from,
we did have an amazing pizza
from
that was
Pizza Hut. Shout out to you.
Oh my gosh.
It could be the same for the animal food, but who knows?
I honestly asked him if it was like, I was like, are you sure that's vegan? Because it looks really
The first time I had it, I was
cheesy.
like, the first time I had it, the cheese looked so, the other week I was like, looks so realistic, and I was like, have they just put the vegan meat on and cheese and then just gone, yeah. But yeah,
can you just ring them and check?
yeah, but it was, you know, it's incredible. We would have known, our bodies would have known by now if we'd had dairy, because it's very scary.
Dairy is scary.
Yeah,
and the more you know about the dairy industry, I feel like if more people knew about what went on in the dairy industry, that perhaps, you know, there'd be a lot more vegans.
Yeah, I think so.
But going back onto the pets, though, I had something that I wanted to ask you about, actually, and that's something that reminded me of that. Like, so obviously every year, like hundreds of thousands of stray pets are euthanized. Like, how is that good? Like, I must admit, I didn't realise the extent of the problem, but I went to see my vet with my cat, and he asked me if I wanted to get a spade, and I was a bit like, I don't know, you know, should I do that? and he basically said that he has to put down animals every week. And I was like, I wanted to be a vet at one point, and I'm really pleased I'm not, because...
Well, I think there's two things for that, because like in America, you know, for years, if they catch animals and they put them down. And
Yeah, they
things,
put them
it's
down after a
disgusting.
couple of
You
weeks
see
or
them
a month,
You
don't
see it
they?
in films, and it's like, oh, you know, and that's probably where I learned about everything. But also the fact that, yeah, they put them down. Also, I think, like, I never get it with people like, yeah, we're just going to cut the cats and dogs' balls off. Like, no.
No, that is weird.
Like,
isn't
why
it?
would you, you know, it's just like, you know, it's genital, whatever, it's like, and that's another thing as well, because the other
they
thing
say that's better, because then
But
they
it-
can't overbreed, and then those
Yeah, but-
those babies can't be
But
abused
who are
or
we to react
murdered
like
or-
gods on this planet, you know? And I feel like we're part of it, and I feel
Yeah.
that's, you know, and it's like I just find it baffling, because then people go, oh, I love animals, but then they act like they're their owners, and no one owns anyone. It's like when I see
no,
people
no one does own anyone.
people walking the dogs, and they go, no, no, and it's just like, oh my God, like the dog doesn't speak English. Like, what are you doing?
Dogs do know, like my mum.
No, I know
You know, they do
but
know.
I just
when
don't
they've
like
done
the
something
way
wrong.
that people do it. Some people do it like it's a
No,
power trip. Like,
some people just shouldn't be allowed to have animals.
I just find there's a lot of things for me
Abusive
where I've
people.
grown up and found a lot of things
Oh
just
really?
very backwards and very strange.
When I was a kid, I always wanted to grow up on a farm, and then, you know, obviously I got older and found out the reality of farms, and I was like, what was I thinking?
Wow. You learn a lot sooner than I did on your vegan journey. Mine's only really been the last vegan since 2020, properly since last year or the year before I got off. Dairy was the last thing I got off.
It is hard to get off. Though.
But you can do that, and it's like anything. It's a decision that comes down to you. It's choice, but also truth. You trust to believe in what you're doing. So it's about educating yourself, because you're as blind as you want to be. So
that's true.
It's up to you. But you know,
A lot of people put blinkers on.
Yeah, they do. That's very true. But
what do you think about working animals? So things like, you know, they use pigs and dogs to look for truffles, and obviously those are very expensive.
Truffles?
Yeah, truffles, like mushroom truffles.
Do they?
Yeah, so they grow underground at certain times of the year and in certain places, and so these truffle farmers have all their land, and then they'll take their dog or their pig, and the dog or pig will snuffle around in the ground looking for the truffles, and then they'll oink or bark or whatever, and then the person digs up where the animal is marked, and there's a truffle. So I know some people that won't eat truffle oil because it's made from truffles that are foraged with an animal, with a working animal.
It's mad how every living thing seems to be used in a horrible way, slavery or to use it or something, you know. And I mean, for me, like, you know, I was thinking before, you know, I think it's like, you know, I'd still, you know, every living thing matters, and it's horrible what happens in slaughterhouse, but obviously it's horrible what happens to cats and dogs, you know, like in China when you have that dog festival, which is grim.
Oh my God, they have a dog festival.
Yeah, where they burn the dogs alive. And
What?
it's in China or Asia, somewhere Asia. You've not known about that? It's been around for years, and they're trying to ban it. They did, and they brought it back. I mean, China
they burn them up. Why?
Well, you know, obviously people know now Wuhan because of COVID, but a lot of them were wet markets. You must have heard about that.
Yeah.
So they had and that's the thing. No offense, you know,
But why are they burning them?
Because they would burn them alive and eat them, and like a you know, like a pig on a round thing, but alive. I mean, it's horrible. I'm sure someone will give me more. We could look on more details about that.
I don't know if I want to know more details about
I
that.
probably don't want to know more details about that. Sorry, again, we are coming live from a studio, from a station that I present on. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a dog. They do it every year. I think it got banned for a while, and it's disgusting. It was just horrible in the way. Yeah, people know. Most people know about it because obviously more people. Every living thing, but more people probably care for more cats and dogs than they do. So it's the thing we know about. But China, you know, you can go down in Hong Kong, go on the street, and you can have every single animal you want, and, you know, to eat, and it's just.
I've never been.
I mean, it's not all like that, but it's just because they will. You know, you see those videos of like people online, predominantly females that are trying they try all these different things, and there was one where a girl tried to eat an octopus.
Oh yeah, I've seen that video.
Took her face off, and she was like, yeah, and she had to pull it off, and it looked horrific. But I thought, well, what do you expect? But then it's like those people that pull out.
Mukbangs.
Huh?
That's what they're called, isn't it? Mukbangs. When people.
And eat. Oh.
Do you want to know how mukbang started?
No. But yes, go on.
It's actually really sweet. So it was in South Korea during the pandemic, and people who were living on their own, they all came together, and then they'd all eat over, Zoom or Messenger or whatever, and they'd all eat and have a conversation while they were eating, so that they could feel like they were in a social situation and not sat on their own at home hiding from the pandemic.
Okay.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah,
but then it turned into this.
More.
Yeah, this kind of. I don't know, it's almost a fetish or something. I don't know, but that
fetish.
Well, I don't know.
Or
it's just so weird that people, especially they're very slim women, aren't they normally? And they just have like a mountain of food, and I don't know how they do it. I'd throw up. Well, maybe if I got stoned.
Yeah,
first,
well, no, because they have a mountain of food of animals.
Yeah, normally.
So. And again, I mean, that links to me where I've lately, I mean, God, this is why we're trying to narrow it down. We're not going off on a tangent, because I was like, I try not to eat so much these days, because I go off my day, and I think we can, and again,
what you eat.
It links into, I mean, I've been looking into the gut, healthy
100%.
gut, but again, it comes down to consumerism, just like everything, because people want more, and you're like, well, where do you think all that stuff's going to come from?
Yeah,
this
is what
clothes,
I think about.
to foods, to everything. Natural resources. That's why there's too many animals on the planet, because of people want it for meat. But then that's going with the climate change. Then it's affecting people's mental health. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom,
dominoes.
Boom. And then it's like consumerism of clothes. Where do you think it's made? Originally, it was factory makers. They were on £1
I'm really
slave
guilty
trade.
Of that. I'm so guilty. That's probably the
She
worst.
loves her fashion. She loves a good outfit. But
I do buy a lot from charity shops, though. I'm
okay,
not like
I see that.
I'm not a first-hand
I used
girl.
to be, but I've gone now. I've just gone. You know what? I don't, unless I've got enough clothes to last me for a long time. And I
mean, I have enough clothes to last me, but do I have enough clothes?
But you've got to think about where it comes from, because I'm saying, it's not as bad
right.
as it was the slave trade. And then you've got to think, half in Indonesia's sinking because
climate change.
Change. Also, they've got most of the land filled over there, because most of the pollution comes because people are chucking away, all their clothes. Well, everything materialistic, they don't want anymore. On top of that, the dye, because of dye in the clothes, goes into the water, and then people are drinking
and
that.
And microplastics as well.
People are drinking that.
Yeah. Don't they say that something like basically almost all the water on Earth is contaminated with microplastics?
I didn't know that, see.
Yeah.
Full of facts here for each other. I'm sure someone might give more information on that in the comments.
But yeah, that's definitely.
But it's that, and then like I say, because then people forget. Oh, well, I don't want that anymore, and then it goes into landfill, it goes into the oceans, and
this is why you should definitely always thrift and go to charity shops. Sell on the second-hand apps, because
thrift shop.
That really does help, I think.
I think I mean though I did get this. I remember in Brick Lane, London, when I was living in London, and I got 2 tops, and I was like, yeah, it's so good, and they were like 20 quid each, and I was like, hold on,
it's quite good for London.
20 quid.
20 quid. That's well good.
For someone else's clothes.
Oh right, were you like, oh, that's the
thrift shop? I was like, and then when I got, I was like, such a good bargain. And I was like, hold on, 20 good top. But
but you could. The fact is, you could go to Primark.
And this has lasted for years.
It looks practically brand new.
It has been, and I've had this for about 10 years.
Exactly. So you go and spend 20 quid in Primark, and you can get like 2 shirts for that, but they wouldn't even last you a year, would they?
Do you remember the thing years ago when someone apparently typed help in one of the clothes?
I did see that, yeah.
Because how bad it was, and that was. And the thing for me is because my friend Valerie, I don't think she has a clothes label anymore, but in London.
Wow, she got a clothes label.
She did, and it was ethnical.
Valerie hooked me up, like.
Yeah, Valerie hooked me up. I don't think she does anymore. She's doing community garden. She's doing really good things. She's done amazing things.
That does sound good.
But
congratulations on your community garden.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll send the link if you have a list. But she made it out of pomegranate and onions. So it's still big, but I went to all her fashion shows. Well, not all of them, quite a few of them in London at the time. And one of them I went to, which was in Hampstead. No, not Hampstead Heath. I think not Hampstead Heath. It was Hampshire. I can't remember now. It was somewhere southwest. Somewhere southwest. And in the fashion show, they had people talking about everything that was going on in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And that's how I learnt about the slave trade, the building that went down in Bangladesh in 2013.
Oh, that was disgusting. Yeah, because they were pretty much locked in.
Yep, they were. And
that happened in England during the Industrial Revolution as well. They used to lock them in the factories so that they couldn't leave, so that and this is where the police come from as well. So yeah, we didn't used to have, you know, you might have like guards or whatever. You had the army, but you didn't have police like we know them until the Industrial Revolution, when the factory owners got together and they were like, hang on a minute, these people have got a bit too much power. They can turn around, they can, you know, they can talk to each other, all sorts of stuff. And, you know, this was one of the big kind of like battles for power that happened, and they created the police, and it was literally to stop the people who worked in these factories from meeting up, from organising. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are what the police are all about. It's nothing to do with protect and serve. They only protect and serve the people at the top. And you're the people that are being kept in line so that the people at the top are safe.
Triangle effect. Because the people at the bottom are not doing what the people at the top are doing, then... Anyway. But yeah, I mean, you make it... And that again, for me, when I learned about it, then it was like, you know, because then I came away with this new perspective that a lot of people don't know about unless you go to something, you want to educate yourself, you're as blind as you want to be. I saw that the other day and I was like, so true. And I came away and it was like, wow, because if you go into a shop and you ask where like 80% of their garments come from, they'll go,
Dunno. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So I'll pause. Probably I'll pause. You go. Come on, lights. This
You have to walk right to the table. There you go.
Okay. And so at the time, these are. I mean, that's by the way, that is for mainstream, not independent. Obviously, a lot of independent ships. That's more like, you know, I'm not going to name them on here, but you know, your main high street shops, and some of them were blacklisted. You wouldn't even know at the time. So for me, I was just like, wow, and it gave me a whole new perspective, because a lot of companies, for not just for phones, but also all your not just for clothes, but for phones, because all that is. Or where do you think all those materials are going to come from? It's a natural resource, and there's only so much resources we can get it from. But a lot of those, like clothes and phones and that, they would also put nets on the windows so people wouldn't commit suicide.
Whoa.
Because the thing that I learned at one of those fashion shows is that what they used to do is they'd go to get these people and they would show them like a brochure and they go, yeah, you'd be working like 7 hours a day,
yeah,
6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, you'd have great pay, you'd be living in your pools and blah, blah, get there, it's completely opposite. It's 12 hours a day, £1, you'd never leave, blah, blah, and some of them couldn't escape.
So scary.
And it was, you know, and they couldn't, and it was horrible, and that's still going on. And I did see documentaries where they go over and you see how it is in China. These people over here have factories, you know, and it's just mad because, you know, a lot in places in Asia, and it's hugely overpopulated. And a lot of this is in India and, of course, in China as well. You know, and that's obviously when you see a lot of things that say made in China, is because predominantly it's made in China, but in a way that, you know, a lot of people, will go, well, whatever, and we'll show. And this is the thing that I've always been a deep thing on. I've stepped back and looked at a lot of things, and it's that thing, unless you see something like that happening or know something where you see it, it's how do I empathise with that, because we become so numb to things on TV and newspapers and we flick it, we go, well,
do you not think that's,
it's
I kind
not
of think
my
that's deliberate,
problem.
don't you think?
Well, yeah, of course, yeah, because if you put on all these violent films on
Yeah.
you become numb to it.
You do.
So when you see it on TV or you see it and you go,
It's just another movie.
oh, it's bad, or whatever. Oh, I don't want to watch the news, it's too depressing, even though, you know, there's, again, the flip side that the propaganda could be there. Some things, I'm not saying all of it, and don't always believe everything you see on the news in the mainstream, because, again, you don't know how much is true, especially in America. But
it's not great here either. Really,
no, it's not great.
Is
And
it?
there's nothing against America. I love America.
I feel like it's gotten a lot worse.
I mean, it's globally. It's globally.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, America was just something that I knew to start off with.
Like, I used to be really proud of the BBC, and now I'm like,
I
seem a bit biased.
I know. Yeah, I didn't work for them. I didn't used to work for them. So it's kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
We should get back onto the subject, really, shouldn't we, of the working animals?
We should, because, I mean, when a lot of people, when you come to watch this, you'd be like, whoa, but you know what? It's all kind of, we've given our time scale, we're halfway through it, it's done this podcast, and it is like a huge domino effect, because it all interlinks.
It does interlink,
and it is, it comes down to, what of everything we've come down today, is the fact that it all interlinks with, a lot of it is capitalism of, this is just the way that we live in. It's just the way that we've always done
so
things. And the things that happen behind closed doors, well, it's not my problem unless it's happened to me.
Yeah.
So it's like this huge domino effect of things that, in order for, and there are...
My parents have that mindset. It's weird. I was talking to them, you know, recently kind of about, like, these kinds of things, like, you know, and they were like, well, that's just the way it is. And I was like, right, well, let's change that. Why don't we have a conversation and do something about it?
Yeah.
Like, let's just not accept the status quo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's about, you know, our parents. Well, you know, I'm not going to bring parents. They're open-minded. They told me to be open-minded. Actually, my dad. Well, no, I won't, because we do actually do. They are on my side, and they don't actually say, well, it's not the way it is. They do try and they're actually quite supportive and say it. And we can, but me and my dad can have heated debates, and he's for or against some things, but. You know, I will give it to them that they do. They told me to be open-minded. It's the way I am. So my dad always said, if the crowd goes one way, you go the other. But I think for me, again, you know, obviously coming back to, we can go back to cats and dogs, but I think we covered a lot of it really there. And I think in the comment section, just leave it. Should we feed cats and dogs meat, or should we feed them vegan food? And should we all then completely down the line not have domesticated animals? But that again, for myself and maybe Charlie one day, I don't know. I want to eventually live off grid like a lot of people, because it's sustainably a lot. When I say to a lot of people, because like, oh, you're going to go completely away from, no, you know, you can do. I still want to perform, do these things. It's a more sustainable way of living. It's a less impact on the planet, because again, you know, all these things we're impacting the planet individually without even realizing from the moment you leave. And this is what I've come to, and this is why. Our channel, another channel has not really gone anywhere yet. It's called Our World. Where do we start? And I wanted to do a live interactive things on different platforms of entertainment and of showing people face to face. Is, you know, it's just about kind of like the more that we individually do, drops and drops, we can make a more impact. And I think for me, sustainably being off grid is a lot better. But it's a lot harder to just do that. But I know a lot of people are doing it because we make impacts without even realising. Multitasking over here.
Oh, I can't help it. Sorry.
Wow.
No, I'm the worst.
Wow. No, it's impressive. It's impressive. She's just like, 1 sec. I've got people I've got to talk to at the same time. 1 second.
My mum gets really mad at me about it. She's like, put your phone down, I'm talking to you. And I'm like, yeah, I've got to send a text, mother.
So that interlinked system's got you right there, you see.
True.
For the phone,
true.
you know, because I mean, there's a thing actually where they say
I am addicted
not to
it.
watch so much TV and blanks, because eventually, apparently, I don't know how true it is, but I did see that there's a bit in your brain, and if it goes completely black,
what do you mean?
There's black forever. There's a bit in your brain which controls a lot. I can't remember the technical thing, and I'm not scientific, but if you watch so much TV and you live in a way that's really abusive to your mind, like just staring at a screen and unhealthy, and eventually there's a bit in your brain that if it goes completely black, then it's
what? You're gonna have to send me whatever this
Sorry,
was.
I know some people will be like, what? Well, actually,
what do you mean? What do you mean? Your
well,
mind
we'll come
goes
back
black?
to it, because I mean this is going off again away from here. Or Botox.
Stop going on about Botox.
I don't know.
Fine.
I know. Oh my
Why?
God.
You don't, babes. You don't need Botox.
Babes.
Is Botox even vegan?
No, it's probably not.
Right.
I'd never Botox. So keeping on task. So I think for me, you know, the off grid is linking it where I was saying it's just living sustainably, less impact on the planet.
Yeah.
Saving animals. You know,
working with the planet, not against it. Yeah, not trying to force crops, not trying to put pesticides
but
down.
also living in peace and harmony the way we're supposed to live, because I've had conversations with people that say we're not supposed to live the way that we're living.
I agree.
But the problem is that of course there's too many people on the planet.
Do you know what? I think that's a bit of a myth. There's
too many people on the planet concentrated in one area.
Yeah, okay.
If it's spreaded across the plains, because you know a lot of people, you know, and this is what gets me as well, because I think in the UK, I think there's only like 2% of the UK that's not owned. Might be more than that or less than that actually.
Maybe. What do you mean that's not lived on?
That it's not owned. It's like I own that land. I own that land.
Oh, right.
I own that land. The planet shouldn't be
royal
owned.
family owns most of it.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Well. Oh right. Okay.
Do you know? It's actually funny. Do you know? Near where on my commute to work, so I cycle to work every day. And recently, they've started building on this little bit of scrapland that the kids used to play football on and stuff, which really angered me. I was like, can't we even have this tiny patch of freaking grass? And then I thought, well, who sold it? Who gets the money for that? Whose land is that? Is it some stuffy old man in a freaking office somewhere? Or is it the kids and the people that use it every day who now have lost it for the sake of another tower block? I mean, and where this area is, it's very urbanised already. You know, there's hardly any green. And it just seems like every tiny, it's basically, you know where Ancoats is, just beyond Ancoats, and there was quite a lot of bits of scrubland. It's not just one, it's like, 2 large pieces of scrubland. And who owns that? Who gets the money?
I have no idea. But you know what? You made a good point, because I mean, I've seen also Manchester and parts of the UK and around the world where you see a lovely bit of green bit, and it's like, build a house on that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa, you know, and then it becomes, and also the tower blocks, you know, and it's going up, and there's so many, especially in Manchester and especially with more and more tower blocks going up to the point where it'll be, you know, look at places like in Japan. We mentioned it a bit today about over in Japan and Shanghai and stuff. It's huge. Tokyo, massive. It's just this. It's this urban concrete jungle, you know, and I think that it's just sad because there's still a huge amount of natural land left, but it's like golf as well. I mean, that's just
golf's a terrible sport. Yeah,
so much land is taken for golf. It's so, you know,
and water as well. They have gallons of water in it, and sometimes these golf courses can be next to kind of like slum areas, and the water will be redirected away from the people and to these golf courses, so that the rich people can play on lovely green grass. And, you know, just a few miles away, you have, you know, people who are struggling to eat and don't have fresh water. I mean, what the hell? How have we created this hellscape where there's a class of people whose needs become before everybody else's? And then those who are the neediest are scapegoated and blamed and looked down on. And poor people are looked down on, and rich people are looked up to. It's almost like if you've got money, you're a good person. You've done well, and I think it should be the other way around. Like,
but again, that comes in. Oh, wow,
isn't that what Jesus said?
That's opening another can of worms and a door right there to so many different things of, what's wow, like level of well, you know, it's like what people class as success, what people don't class as different things, in the way people look at the people and different, and it's just, again, I look at society and stuff, I just find it so backwards in a lot of ways. But I mean,
we've been conditioned to look at it that way.
Because I've gone through all the different stages in life, and I was at that point. Well, I've never looked at anyone in ways of, it's just more that, you know, I've gone through that lavish lifestyle, the ups and downs, but I'm just like, you know, I love nature. You know, it's free therapy.
Yes, it is.
And you know, Mother Earth is a wonderful thing we should protect, rather than this stuff that's made by the capitalism to control us. And there's a great series called, and I will tell you, called Mr. Robot. Watch it, because there are clips on YouTube from it that are amazing. That just like,
and it's got Remy Novak in it.
Yeah, and also Christian Slater.
Oh yeah, Christian Slater.
Who's one of his best performances in it.
Gosh.
So it is a really
so hot. Sorry, Christian, you're still hot.
So yeah, let's keep it. Let's keep it. Let's not go off with, you know.
Sorry, Christian. I wouldn't do that.
He's a human. He's got feelings.
Yeah,
he's
pretty old now, isn't he? Sorry, sorry, Christian.
Geez,
it's not. No, he should be proud. I'm proud that I'm getting older. We should all be happy.
Yeah, of course.
This idea of like youth being more.
Well, I think that's interlinked as well. I was thinking about that, because the whole thing of when you get an older, some people get older if they haven't done enough stuff by an age. So they're, oh my God, I'm older. Yeah. And it's like, but that again was society, because if you were living on, I always think of it, I've had this conversation, if you're living off an off-grid thing and everyone was living in a safe space and all this, and there's no ego, there's no that arrogance and jealousy and all this, the right things that we're supposed to have, there won't be all that, because you're getting older.
Have you met humans though?
I've met some good humans, like yourself and other people that we're on slightly different journeys, but we're on the same path.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I would agree.
And I think, you know, I think it's that thing where, you know, because I've read it out of the year. I read it when I was younger. I remember I read about a girl who was in Manchester, and she committed suicide when she was 32, because she was like, I'm not married, I've not got kids, I've not got a child, I'm judged and boom. And I know in part
I'm like, girl, those are good things. Well, yeah.
Because it's that thing again, like a domino effect, because it's that systematic bullshit where it's like a school put the uniform on, ready to put the
Yes.
uniform on, ready to put the uniform on, and make sure you go to make sure you
always
pay your
have to wear the-
taxes,
yeah, you
and
gotta wear
make
the
sure you
right
get married, and make
shoes.
sure you have kids, and make sure you have the job, and make sure you do exactly what everyone else has done.
That's
just
how they trap
because
you.
it's always the way we've done it.
They trap you with the kids.
So exactly. So
That's
I
why
think
they're so insistent on us
have the
having
kids,
them.
have the kids, because
Yeah,
you
you've
can't.
got- yeah.
Once you have that, you
That's
can't
it.
do nothing against kids.
True.
But
No,
you can't,
kids are
because
great.
we're all kids once. But you can't do nothing else.
No,
So
because
you're
you have to
trapped.
provide for the children. So you've got and that is how they get you.
And it's nothing, you know. And if you want to do that exact thing we're saying, fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's and again, it's linked out again when people go, oh, but you should be doing that. You should be doing this. But I think again, if we're living in this beautiful, and there's loads of off-grid communities here and abroad, more abroad because it's easier to get land abroad at linking what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
But for now it is. But
Turkey.
I think for me, it's kind of, if people were getting older gracefully the way we're supposed to do, we're supposed to evolve, we're develop, we're meant to grow our butterfly wings.
Yeah.
And we're
with your
supposed to then go
mind.
back to Mother Earth for our next journey. You know, I want to connect so much to the way that I'm ready to go on my next journey. I think.
Come back. I don't want to come back to this
And
society.
and well, you don't know what's going to happen, but
It's reality.
what we think was going to happen, because again, oh my god,
I hope
that's
there's
what
another
that's what we're
reality.
going to talk about in another past.
Okay.
On another podcast about illusions and the Matrix and everything, and whether things are, because
And what happens in the next life?
you know, because there's some people believe in soul contracts, some people believe different things. I was religious quite raised. I was a Christian, and and there was, I've got many Christian friends, but I'm spiritual now, and and
Yeah, I
it's nothing against
myself
nothing against
spiritual.
religion.
Organised religion. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Yeah, well,
It's my favourite. It's propaganda.
It is a way of control, but I understand why some people are, and I don't really want to.
Oh yeah, sorry. I
negative
wouldn't.
towards
I'm
anything,
by the way,
because-
but when I'm saying that, I'm not trying to shit on anyone's belief or
No.
like upset anyone. But I'm saying that the religion has been taken and used as a form of control.
Please do not say F or anything. You are live and Big Brother. So, but no, I mean, I absolutely think it's just it's so for me, like I was saying, I see nature and I see this wonderful natural thing that's made, because everything that's non-human made, everything that's organic, we're all connected. We're energy, we're vibrations, and everything that's non-man made is wonderful, but it's a way of this, like, oh, look at these natural things that we get so. Because we're talking to you and this, it's like, we're talking to you on a thing that you're going to watch, which is on a screen that's going through this, which I guess, again, is not man-made. It's a way of communicating. We do it on a good level. But for me, cannot wait. When I eventually will, in the next 5 years, I'll live off-grid, I will only have a few electrical appliances needed for when it will be, because everything else will be
We should get a camper van.
admiring the wonderful world. Well, no, I don't want to even. I don't want to be anything that's
Eating
petrol,
fossil fuel.
no. I don't.
We could get an electric one. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But no, what we should do, you should buy
Well,
a
I'm going to
piece
join.
of
Well,
wood.
you want to go to Turkey? I don't. So, but
Turkey's so
No
beautiful.
thanks. I think we'll be living on
Why-
different off-grid communities.
Why don't you want to go to Turkey?
Just don't. It's not where I want to go.
But you've not been.
I've not been, but it's
the cradle of civilization.
I've been researching other places.
Oh,
that I
okay,
wanna
go. Where,
Also, well,
where
there's-
you want to go to America though, and
There's
that
some places in
scares
America,
me.
but no, there was. I actually said there was. I actually said my dad said there should be.
Oh,
people there,
okay.
But I had researched. There's some place around you. We'll see. It's wherever the universe aligns me to.
See, the main problem with America, right, for me personally, is that they don't have healthcare.
Yes.
So
yeah.
say, okay, we're living off grid, right? Oh, you fall over, you break your leg,
Okay,
or
so
maybe
how
something
far are you
even
going to live?
worse.
How far are you going to live from a hospital if you're off grid?
No, I know that, but let's say
Well,
you've
if you're-
broken your leg.
Okay,
It's
so
not
that's
life
why
threatening.
you'd want a doctor or someone that lives.
Yeah, it's not life threatening, but
Okay.
it would be best to go
Okay.
to the hospital for your own health.
Okay, but these a lot of off-grid places are miles away from hospitals.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff,
can
so-
if it's too serious, they get you a helicopter or something.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You have to look after your own life as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, I suppose, yeah. Well, I've been looking at places. 'Cause a lot of people say, there are loads of off-grid amazing communities here in the UK. There's
There are, yeah.
I can't think of the name. I was something beginning with T. They've been going since the 70s. There's a lot of good
Oh,
documents.
was this a farm?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
down
oh.
There's a lot in Wales, but there's a lot down
Sorry,
south.
my hair's on you.
It's okay. There's a lot down south, and there's lovely documentaries. Actually, a platform I recommend people to watch is called Water Bear, That's Water Bear, and they are like a Netflix sort of documentaries for everything off grid and loads of things. And that's where I discovered about these family that were living off grid and have been for years, and it's wonderful what they're doing.
Cool.
But you know, there's a lot of cool things if you want to get involved in these different. I don't know why I just thought, because most things happen down south. So a lot of there's a festival which I got invited to this year, but I didn't go, called Love Jam, and that's non-vegan. It's plant-based, and it's wonderful. They do loads of things there. And I know lucky through the last couple of years where I've been and performed at festivals. One called Audio Farm where I met a load of people.
I love Audio Farm.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
in fact, I think I know one of the organisers of that.
Might be Steve. But sadly it's come to an end. Audio Farm, but it has, because bigger corporations.
Just because I don't go on Instagram anymore.
There you go.
Fuck you,
yeah, exactly. Well, okay. Well, if we do put this on Instagram and Facebook, sorry about that. But we do want to get this out to as many people as possible. But it might be on YouTube. We'll decide.
We won't be allowed to put it on Facebook.
Exactly. But
do you know what? You can at least say stuff about him. If it was on X or
well,
X.
I don't want to. I'm not here to badmouth anyone.
Oh, I wasn't.
I think it's a collective, really, because I think we all work together.
I don't know. I do have a slight problem with billionaires.
I do, but I think because I was.
I think they shouldn't exist. Like, not as in they shouldn't be allowed. Like,
I don't think
they shouldn't be allowed to be billionaires.
Yeah, I mean, I was at an event the other day and someone started laughing. It was like, those millionaires died. Ha!
Wow.
The Titanic thing that went down. I was like,
that's a bit much.
I was like, yeah, but there was a 17-year, there was 19 or whatever on board.
That is the person I feel the worst
But also
for.
those other people, regardless, there were lives.
He didn't even want to go.
No.
That's what's really sad about it. He only went to please his dad.
Yeah,
oh my God.
But anyway, so without
humanity.
Sorry when you watch this, they're going to be covering so many different. Welcome to the world of different traits within humans.
Ouch.
In a good way, because we're all amazing human beings. We all have the ability to do amazing, wonderful things. I think that's what it's about.
No, I'm hurt now, Dan.
No, you shouldn't.
No, I'm really joking.
Charlie is wonderful. And we can, we started talking about these different things and we wanted to get there. And there are, and I realised that, because over the years I've been like, I want to change the world. But I realised, one, you can't change the world until you change yourself.
That's so true. and
that's what I've been wanting to do, is been on this journey of change, working on those parts of me so that I'm able to work on it. But I think if by informing people is then up to the individual to make the change, because I individually can't change the world, but collectively drops in oceans can.
Do you not
can't change all 8 billion people.
No, but you can make a difference in your world.
I can, yes, correct.
You know what I mean?
I can. And I think the small amount, from the small, to a small drop in the ocean in that part of thing, I can be making it, I saw a thing the other day that was, being a vegan, you save 300 and something animals' lives a year. It's not a lot, but it means
something.
a lot. But it means something.
Exactly.
To those animals. So that those drops in the oceans, and I think also, it's incredible for the families that are like the kids these days, and teenagers. I think are doing amazing.
The new generation. I'm really hopeful.
So hopeful for because they're so caring and they want to make that change, because we're living in a time where
they're accepting of other people. That's what I love about them so much.
Charlie, can you get the lights quickly?
Yeah.
That's the hope. Hopefully, that things could change. We probably maybe not seen in a lifetime, and the people next generation may, but maybe down the line, just hopefully it may, because there are forces that may stop that for a long time, i.e. AI, and a lot of things. So I'm not, I went to a show the other day which actually saw it on the different opposite, which was about AI, on their perspective that this conscious will be made, and then it's like, people are going to attack it. It's like, whoa, it's not my fault.
It's not conscious yet, though.
No, but it will, at some point it will get to. And that was actually a show I watched as part in Manchester, for those that might be watching, called Free Your Mind, which was
you said it was interesting.
Part of the Factory International. And that was where I watched that, and even though it was about the progression of, it was the Matrix meet the AI, and it was.
No, it was cool. I was jealous when you sent me some of those pictures. I was like,
it was incredible.
Really cool.
But it was also what's the name of the computer from Manchester, Ian Turry.
Alan Turing.
Alan Turing, yeah, sorry, Ian.
It's disgusting how the government treated him.
Yeah, it was, and obviously they, you know, because and so, but it was a wonderful the things that they tribute to him.
Yes.
And also the progression, because there's things he said which actually came here now about how the computer could take over and the way it will advance. But also watching it on the show, they also had the oh god, it was just like, because me being a deep thinker, you could watch. Some people went to watch it 2 or 3 times because it was a cast of 60 people. It was all dance, but there was so much going on.
Yeah, you want to go and check it out again.
You would have been like, "Whoa!"
I'd be like, "This is great."
But it was a unique thing for Manchester. It could be put on somewhere else, but it was for the
and that was it. Was it a myth?
No, it was
the warehouse. Right?
No, it's called Aviation Studios. It's I can't remember the name, but it's.
Aviva Studios.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dyslexic there. Myself, but yeah. So, but there was a part in it where the people coming out. So they had the Matrix going in the middle with Neo and Morpheus, but they had these fighters coming out. Now it represented those that know the Matrix. It was represented, but also there were people coming out with heads of Facebook and heads of Apple, and then security cameras watching everyone in the audience. And I was like, whoa, man!
Isn't the UK
I got my camera out, and then these performers got the cameras out on stage, and I was like. And my head just went, and at the end of it, I was like, "My gosh!" And it just.
So they were filming you as well.
Yeah, and I just thought, and everyone in the audience, I saw started putting the cameras down because we're so like.
Yeah, we really are. We can do. Like,
and I am. I'm
again,
not going to be. You know, that's why I am consciously.
But do you ever watch those videos again? You don't. It's better to have that experience.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people used to. One of my mates used to go to concerts. He'd be like, "Oh my god, people with their phones," but it's a memorable experience, and I get it. A lot of people. There are some things I love watching back and being like, but I do get it. It's kind of like that kind of like, oh no, I need to film it. Do you know what I was saying this other day though? It's funny because if you look at people at a cam on a phone, and I did this years ago when people watching TV, and you step back and you look, and then you just watch people who'd either be like this at the TV, or they'd be like, and I'd be like, wow, you look zombified.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why I want to go off-grid abroad, somewhere near a beach, because do I, if I'm old, want to be sat in front of a TV all day?
Millennial nursing home.
Like a lot of them are, and sat there, even though my nana is 91.
Yeah, but it would be slightly different for us.
I want to be living on the beach. If I'm
able,
and I'm not saying that's all of it, because I know some old people that have, like, I was reading up the other day, these old couple that bought an apartment on a cruise ship.
Oh yeah, I read about that.
Amazing. You know, some people no, whatever. But you know what?
The sustainability of cruise ships, though.
Okay, I
that's
agree.
Another topic. But
I agree. That's why I've never taken contracts.
Yeah,
on cruise ships.
I would never go on a cruise ship.
But I understand. But a lot of them, actually, some of them are now apparently trying to be a lot more eco-friendly.
Have you seen some of them?
Yeah, they're huge. Of course. I know.
There's a girl on Facebook who does like cruise reviews. I think her name's Emma. Anyway, I've watched her a few times, like just because they're quite interesting. And yeah, I was shocked at I'd not realised how big these ships were.
No, they're massive.
They've got they can fit like 5,000, 6,000 people on board. So that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, I know people have been asked to go and do short to long contracts on cruise ships. I'm a performer, I know something there.
I got offered a chef job on a cruise ship. But that you had to work 7 days a week. I was like, sorry, what?
Yeah, it's long.
When do I get a day off?
It's long. It's mad.
You work every day, and some of them are like
people.
12-hour shifts every day. I was like, nah, I like my days off.
So, but going back to what we were talking about before.
Oh, I've forgotten, darling.
Well, I was saying about all the people.
To be fair, you did go off on a tangent.
I did, but it was because we were talking about old people. Anyway, but I mean. I know it's millennials, and my nana, who's 91, I love her to bits, but she can move, she can walk around, and if I'm that able, God willing, that age, I want to be living on the beach and be able to still... And this is because we're coming to the end, and this is another thing I've seen on a documentary on Netflix, and it's about the blue zones, and it's incredible. Certain parts of places, again, there's an island off Japan, some parts of Greek, where there's people at 90 to 100 that are still running, they're muscly, they're amazing, but they're doing amazing, and it's incredible. They're like, they're still loving it because eventually, apparently, they're going to know how to turn off the genes.
I do fully believe that when I'm old, I'm going to be sprightly.
Yeah, but these are people you will, because majority of them are plant-based eaters.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing is because this is what I want to start doing now. eventually when I get into my new place, it's having just a mattress, but a lot of them live off mattresses,
On the
and they
floor.
can get up because a lot of old people do, they fall over
Yeah, they
because
do.
their momentum has gone. So a lot of people get off. The reason a lot of old Japanese, well not Japanese, Asian people that live like that have those beds, just a mattress on the floor, is because they can get up and down, and they keep having that momentum.
They
as
also
get
do
older.
a lot more calisthenics, don't they?
As well as yoga and everything else.
Yeah, so I was going to say actually that's one of the things that yoga's taught me, that like especially when you start getting a bit older, you know, you're coming up to your 40s, your 50s, you want to start balancing on your like, you know, standing one-legged.
Yeah.
Apparently if you can stand on one leg for something like 3 minutes, that can literally add like 10 years to your life.
Wow.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, this is for you couch potatoes, like putting your hands above your head, like doing that for a few minutes a day, like that can add like 5 years onto your life if you do it every day.
As well as yoga, which I know is my dad's. I know which, you know.
You should come to the yoga class.
I will.
It's so good.
I will. But like I was saying, the reason I linked into blue zones and those things is because people are sick. You know, watch that as an example of these people also not surprised. They're happy. They're living off. A lot of them, it's almost like off grid. And it's that thing that yes, you can. They're example of a plant-based diet. They're example of away from the system way that we're living. You know, that is the blue zone. So I will, if wherever we put it, there'll be links to things.
Isn't there's that little island off the coast of Japan?
Yeah, that's one of them.
It's mainly a volcano. There's only something like 50 people that live on it.
I don't know if that, but there is another one. Sorry, turn on the lights in the studio. We are. It's self-sufficient. So yeah, but there's a few. They're called the blue zones. I don't know.
Is that what the
reason why
documentary's
they're
called?
Well, yeah, but they're about these things. They're called the blue zones.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll put a link into that somewhere because I need to watch more of it. And it's fantastic, and because I want to, you know, I'm being more conscious on my body, from a gut. Also, sustainably, what I'm consciously doing now is I will try never to buy another plastic bottle again, because I don't want to.
Yeah, at least with
making
tinners you
the
can
small
recycle them.
steps is the best thing. Well,
Plastic's the worst.
You know, making those small steps to a better way of living, and you know, by making those, being disciplined, which we do in a lot of things in our personal life, being disciplined in these things that matter towards the planet, making that conscious effort means a lot. So. But we're coming towards the end of this one. So it's been the first one, everybody, I'm sure.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining myself. We have gone through many domino effects. We were meant to stay on one, but I don't think we could have stayed on that topic.
Maybe we should just call it the Domino Effect Podcast.
The Domino Effect Podcast. There you go. There's the name of it.
Idea.
The Domino Effect Podcast, and we talk about all these things that are life.
That are linked, but you don't think are linked.
But everything is linked. Everything's connected. Question everything, because you know the wonderful thing of life. It's mysterious. It's vulnerable. It's tangible. It's more than tangible. It's mystery. It's boggles me. Of life and all these things. And again, we'll talk about another time.
I think we're meant to be boggled, and we're meant to be amazed.
You know, if you ever, sometimes you're worrying, just stop and look up at the sky, look at the stars, and go, oh yeah. Part of the universe, don't worry about all this stuff that's going on, because some of it really doesn't matter, but some of it does, the real stuff. So, but yeah, that's us for this time. But I've been Ben Richardson,
and I've been Charlie Hadley.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
This has been the Domino Effect. We hope you enjoy it, and let us know what you think in the comments. And yeah, till next time, peace, much love,
Peace out. Thank you guys,
and
thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Mm.
Bye bye.